Hi guys, it's Wednesday. Forgive the holes in my shirt. Yes, those are holes in my shirt. I thought they were lint. I moved to pick them up. I was like, oh, I have holes in my shirt. It's YouTube. Go with it. These are my Momo clothes. I got home from seeing Paddington 2 with my mom and my husband, and Mom was like, pick me up! And I'm like, hold on, I have to put on Momo clothes. Pick me up! Okay. Hug. Okay, that's Momo. Every time I come home, Momo wants to be picked up immediately. But Paddington 2 is really cute. Just happy. And Paddington is Momo sized. If you've seen the Paddington movies, that's how big Momo is. He goes from about shoulder to about hip. That's how big Momo is. And while we're on the subject of happy, help support this channel, become a monthly patron, patreon.com/LeannaK. This video is almost guaranteed to get demonetized because that's all the happy we're going to talk about today. Because I have been really taken aback by the response to the Aziz Ansari controversy. I'm really surprised at the people who are coming to his defense, because they're not who I expected them to be. And that doesn't mean they're wrong. I'm just saying the battle lines were unexpected here. Here's the main story. It's on a site called babe.net. You can see the headline. I went on a date with Aziz Ansari. It turned to the worst night of my life. I'm going to try to minimize the gory details here. If you want to read them, go ahead. If you don't, I completely understand. I felt like I had to shower afterwards. I recorded this actually yesterday for the first time. I might put it up for the patrons. I don't know. 2 of these stories in the same week might be too much. I don't know. But that was before I saw the fighting. I didn't know there was this big roar going on about it. But I mean, I think one of the things driving it is the fact that the site, babe.net, is in part financed by the Murdochs. That's sort of the oops going on with that. It immediately people go, well, they're trying to tar and feather a darling of the left. See, darling of the left, I don't know. I tried to watch Master of None. It's not my thing. I don't understand it. I'm not a millennial. It just seemed neurotic and oddly sexually perverse to me. Now, this is just based on the first episode. I didn't like the first episode enough to try the second one. But here's the breakdown of the 2 sides, according to CNN. Some are saying the allegations against Ansari assault weakens the Me Too movement. Wow, bad sentence there. The other side, this is the kind of conduct that has given rise to movements like hashtag Me Too and hashtag Time's Up, and just because it happens a lot doesn't make it right. Wow, that escalated quickly. When I read the story, I thought, what a dirtbag. I did recognize that a year ago, this may not have even been a story. But this is what happens when you go to an award show wearing a pin that has to do with some activism, much like the women accusing Donald Trump of bad behavior didn't come forward until after he denied the Access Hollywood tape. This woman didn't, this wasn't a newsworthy story until Aziz Ansari wrapped himself in the whole Time's Up thing. He wore the pin. He gave it a shout out at the Golden Globes. This is not a question of whether Aziz Ansari is a rapist. This is a question of whether Aziz Ansari is a hypocrite. That's how I took it. I think that saying that the assault allegations against Aziz Ansari, I understand where people are coming from that. I think saying it weakens the Me Too movement is not true, because what he's being accused of is actually more serious than what Al Franken was accused of. Now, granted, it's one person, and there were multiple Al Franken accusers, but all but one was anonymous. So, these are questions of what exactly happened here. And the unfortunate thing here is when Aziz Ansari released his official response to the whole thing, he didn't deny it. In fact, he validated a key point of her story. In the original article on babe.net, there's a Vine or whatever it is, it looks like an Instagram thing, of text messages exchanged between them. And, you know, she says, last night wasn't fun. He kept going, ignoring clear nonverbal cues. You had to have noticed I was uncomfortable, she says. I just want to take this moment to make you aware of this behavior and how uneasy it made me. Really think back to last night. You may have said it's okay, only fun if we're both enjoying it. Let's just chill. But within moments of that, your fingers were, and these are the details that I'm going to spare you. You can read the screen if you want, but yikes. The line in the last paragraph is important because it says, it may have seemed okay, but I didn't feel good at all. This is the line he directly quotes in his official statement. In response, you say, it may have seemed okay. So he is essentially confirming that this text message is real, that it was sent to him. It's legit. And he's not disputing the details of what happened. He's just claiming it was consensual. He's not saying, I never heard her say that. No, she did not say that. He's not saying if she had expressed that much discomfort, I never would have gone through with it. He says, okay, look at his statement. He says, it was true that everything did seem okay to me. So when I heard it was not the case for her, I was surprised and concerned. I took her words to heart and responded privately after taking the time to process what she had said. So he's not disputing anything. He's not saying, no, I don't recall it that way. This is not the way I remember it. Everything seemed okay to me. So that whole, this is a Murdoch hit job thing kind of goes out the window because he's not disputing the account. This isn't someone exaggerating for effect. Now, the opinion that this was or was not sexual assault, that is getting a lot of people upset. That seems to have been what Ashley Banfield was upset about. It is also only one accuser. I know I'm beating a dead horse here, but that's important. I don't think one case of very bad judgment should define a person's character forever. If more women now come forward and have had similar experiences with this guy, different story. Right now, we can give him the benefit of the doubt and say that it wasn't characteristic behavior. I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is this idea that he didn't do anything that could be improved, right? He's saying I took her words to heart, but now he's quite happy to sit back and have everybody say she's ruining the Me Too movement and everything like that. I think the Me Too movement had problems before this. And you guys know that. I've been on the record here with that. What we have here is a case where the account is not being questioned. I know I'm beating a dead horse here, but this is important because, you know, Louis C.K. confirmed it's all true. Okay, we can accept the account. There's so much stuff about, you know, Kevin Spacey and Harvey Weinstein and James Toback and Brett Ratner that it's like, okay, this is this critical mass, you know, sort of a threshold dirtbags. And, you know, possibly criminal behavior, even though they probably won't see the inside of a jail. When you get something like Al Franken, there's no proof that anything but the that photo happened or happened the way they claimed. He's disputing. He says, I don't remember it that way. Same with James Franco. So we do have to give people some benefit of the doubt when they dispute the account. Aziz Ansari isn't. So in the absence of a dispute of the account, we have to take um, we can reasonably assume it's fairly accurate. He's just claiming that she consented to him sticking his fingers in her mouth on a first date. I mean, I don't wanna shame anybody for weird sexual predilections. It's just that is an advanced move on a first date. The whole sex in front of a mirror is an advanced move on a first date. First time I've heard of Seinfeld in a blowjob. I admit, I like Seinfeld. It's not exactly a sexy show. It's hard to read, and it's interesting because I talked to my husband about this today, and he was more disturbed by it than I was. And I think that's telling, because he's normally, it's no big deal when I'm like, no, this is serious. So the fact that he was disturbed says a lot to me, that he is very much of the opinion, no, dude should have known better. And that's really what this is about. Not if what he did was criminal or not. It's a big question of, why is this sort of behavior so common? And I'm afraid we're not really going to have that conversation, because everybody's screaming at each other and saying he's been railroaded and all that stuff. It was just a bad date, blah, 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 blah. I think most guys don't want to be a bad date. They don't want to be that horror story that a woman tells her girlfriends about. So I think it's instructive to talk about why it was a bad date. And it's funny because I think it was the New York Daily that actually said that it's a crash course in affirmative consent. And that is what it is. Like, I know people give affirmative consent a bad name, but it's not, come on, camera, focus. It's not requiring a written legal contract to have sex. It's just checking in to make sure things are okay, to make sure you're not going to end up in a situation like this where you're being accused of non-consensual activity that you thought was consensual. It's street proofing for men is what it is. And so I think it's important to learn what it is. There's little things all through this account that if he just done things differently, he wouldn't be accused today. And again, we don't have to say, oh, this is victim blaming, because she's not lying. He's not disputing it. He's just saying it was all consensual. But I'll tell you, even the women that are defending him are saying it's bad sex. It was a bad date. So let's take all the sexual assault stuff off the table and all that really crazy stuff and really look at that, because no guy wants to be a bad date. If you do, you're selfish, and then you are not considering your partner and you are doing something wrong. Why is this a bad date? Well, because she wasn't into it. And she's 22. He's 34. By 34 years of age, it is reasonable to expect a grown-ass man knows how to tell if a woman isn't into what he's doing. He either didn't or he didn't care. And if you're not sure, like little simple things like, is this okay? Are you okay? Like, that's all you have to do. Is this okay? Yeah. Party. But there are little things through it that, she said, he's like, where do you want me to fuck you? Not, do you want to fuck? Or how about something on the first date that isn't fuck? Like, this isn't porn sex. It's the first date. Have a little class. But, he skipped a step. He asked where she wanted to be fucked before confirming she, in fact, wanted the fucking. That was a mistake. But then she says, next time. And he says something like, next time is in second date? And she says, yeah. And he says, If I pour you another glass of wine, does that count as a second date? Dude, now you're just a horny, pathetic guy that isn't taking the hint. And that's precisely when a lot of women get scared, because he's not taking no for a hint. Now, is it reasonable to be scared? No, but by this woman who goes by the name of Grace's own account, she froze. She was just kind of stunned. And she managed to get away and get to the bathroom, and she was in there for a good 5 minutes. Guys, if a woman's in the bathroom for 5 minutes and you don't smell air freshener, something's wrong in that, you know, and she doesn't look notably different. Something's wrong. And at that point, there was this question of there's this exchange, which he doesn't deny. He doesn't deny any of this, remember, that she said, here, I'll let you guys see it. It's right here. I said, I don't want to feel forced because then I'll hate you, and I'd rather not hate you. And he said, oh, of course, it's only fun if we're both having fun. Let's just chill over here on the couch. And they go sit down. Seinfeld's on. Next thing you know, she's got his wang out. He's got his wang out again. That's not going slow, right? That's not easing off on the pressure. Most adult men will recognize she's not into it. And I'm sure there will be some people who don't agree. That's a problem. And this is what we have to talk about, you know? And this is why yes means yes is so useful. Because all he had to do was be clearer, instead of, oh, if I take my dick out, it has some magical woman attractant. It is a chick magnet. And of course she'll gobble my knob as soon as she sees it. Like, I don't know where these ideas come from, but they're not the way women think. And this is why we have to have these conversations. So guys, please, because I don't like guys ending up in these situations. It's terrible. It's horrific. I've had friends publicly accused for far less. But please just check it out. Is this okay? Are you okay? Is this good for you? Little things. Check in with your partner. Women too. This is a good skill for everyone to learn. It's not that hard. And then after the fact, my God, if someone texts you a text like she sent him, don't just text her back with, I'm so sad to hear that. I mean, look at this social justice-y response. Like, what is wrong with this entire subculture of people? Like, who, the language, the choice of words is so detached and practiced. This is part of the thing that's really creeping me out. It's like they're following a script. You know, those, do you want to go to a movie? I'm feeling fat and sassy. You know, like this weird kind of recited dialogue. Hello, Jimmy. How is your mother? She is fine, Dr. Bob. You know, it sounds like real people who are really engaged in a conversation do not talk this way. But I'm so sad to hear this. All I can say is it would never be my intention to make you or anyone feel the way you described. Clearly, I misread things in the moment, and I'm truly sorry. Billy, when you get a text message from a woman like this, you try to get her in a real life, at least voice chat conversation. Eye contact is better. She may not want to see you because she's creeped out, but a phone call. Try to get a phone call, because then you can talk it out and make sure she is okay, instead of, it would never be my intention. It would be, it happened. Was it or not? What is this conditional tense? Like the displacement is just, outrage warriors. Like this is why I hate the mamby-pamby left. Like, what is wrong with all of you? Where is your identity? Where is your basic human emotional connection to a situation? This is just what creeps me out about this whole thing. I hate this modern socialization. I'm so glad that most of the people I know are just like, fuck you and fuck you too, and you know, we're ballsy that way. This mealy mouthed scripted, like, ugh. It's not real. It's not real. And the fact that it is not real and not authentic is why people don't feel okay afterwards. Why nobody feels satisfied by the conversation, and where you get these public accusations because he left it there. He just left it hanging there. This girl still feels like there's a problem because you know what? If he was a great guy the second time, if he didn't take advantage of, because she probably would have seen him because she was in awe of him being famous. She probably would have met him again. And if he had at least been a decent human being and not gone for the knob gob a second time, then she would have gone, okay, he just made a mistake. Women that don't leave in these situations, they want to understand. They want to believe you're an okay guy. All you have to do is give them the ability to not feel like crap about it. And like I said, if you feel it's a false accusation, that's different, but he's not. He's not saying it's a false accusation. He's saying, clearly I misread things in the moment and I'm truly sorry. It means a lot more if they hear you say that. It means a lot more if there is eye contact when you say that. And it means a lot more if you can show that you can be in their physical presence a second time and not be a creep. Now, again, she may not want to do that. But that wasn't what I'm getting from this. I was getting that she wanted him to make it okay. And all he did was text. And they don't say anything. Neither of them say anything about another encounter. There. It actually says that those texts were the last Grace had contact with Ansari. And the night in his apartment was the last night she saw him. Bad freaking move. Like you've left it on a bad note. You know, this is a masterclass in how not to handle this. Master of none indeed. And apparently this guy wrote a book on modern romance. Like, ugh. This isn't a question of him being a criminal. This is a question of him violating his brand. All he would have had to do, first of all, make her feel a little bit special. Don't make it feel like she's just an interchangeable hole for him to stick his erect penis in. You know, make it seem like he actually likes her as a person and she's relevant as a person and not just the girl that night that is expected to sleep with him because he bought her dinner. Have a little bit more swag, have a little bit more cool about the whole thing. And I mean, you're excited. You want to have sex. Sex is good, but wow, I sound like a softball character now. Like, I keep having to check that Aziz Ansari is in fact a 34-year-old man because this is the behavior of a fumbling 17-year-old. You know, like this is what I expect from an idiot teenager. He's double the age of the emotional maturity that he is displaying here. And I'm not talking just when the blood's rushing from his head. He had time to recover and he didn't. And this is the sort of thing where he should have been wise enough to recognize that this is now a paper trail. You better do better than clearly I misread things in the moment. I'm sorry. That's basically him admitting he did it. I don't really know how you can defend a guy when he admits he did it. Now, you can say it's not a life-ruining moment. I agree. It's not a life-ruining moment. There will be worse days in this Grace lady's life. It's downhill from here if this is the worst night of your life. But that doesn't mean what he did is okay. And it doesn't mean, under the current circumstances, that the vociferous defense that some people are giving him is warranted. Now, if there's consequences, again, it's like, I don't know about one accusation confirmed or not. But when Jessica Valenti is somewhat a voice of reason on something, things, you know, you look at sort of the tweets that come up when you Google his name, and you have a lot of men will read that post about Aziz Ansari and see an everyday reasonable sexual interaction. But part of what women are saying right now is that what the culture considers normal sexual encounters are not working for us. I would have taken out and oftentimes harmful. Everything else I agree with. My God, I agree with Jessica Valenti. This never happens. Arnessa, I saw someone tweet something like, what if Aziz Ansari did with sexual assault? Then every woman I know has been sexually assaulted. And like, yeah, actually. So people are being garbage bags in my mentions about the Aziz Ansari thing, though they're acting like it's new garbage about ambiguous consent or whatever. It is, in fact, the same garbage we've always spilled about rape. What women are trying to communicate here is, guys, this thing lots of you do, we actually don't like it. Can we please get that understood now? That's what's trying to be communicated here. Now, I'm good with guys coming back and saying, but here's the thing from our point of view that you don't get, and it would be really helpful if we could get some clarity here. This is what is called dialogue. We cannot have this when everyone is making this like the literally worst thing can't even ever outrage warrior crap that happens in 2018. This is an important conversation that we need to collectively have. Because this idea is, yeah, this isn't working for us. You treating us like a cum dumpster is not working for us. Stop it. We don't like it. That's falling on deaf ears on this thing of you're ruining his life. Well, that's not proven yet. He hasn't really lost anything but some pride at this point. And I think it is completely fair for people to say, you know, to paraphrase Rebecca Watson in Elevator Gate, don't do that. That's all this really is. That's all that is really communicating. If you believe in the whole Time's Up thing, if you believe in the whole Me Too thing, this is the kind of stuff you need to rethink. That's it. No one has to go to jail. No one has to lose their livelihoods. Can we please just get some communication happening on this? Please. Please?